Well, hey, welcome back, everybody. Just wanted to talk about my first CBCS submission ever, my first grading submission ever. And just so you guys can see, I've always had comics up on the wall, but I've got these for a long time, I've had these cool wooden frames that you can pull off the top and slide in comics. So, and over there, that's hard to see, but that's my kind of Marvel Stanley tribute Christmas present I got a while back. So, but anyway, I wanted to talk about my CBCS submission, or probably how not to CBCS, but that's okay. So let's go through item by item. I'd actually shot a previous video on this, but I wanted to include a little bit more information, so we'll get started. There's a couple, really I should have used the grade selection tool there, the grade screening true, and set a value, whether, and likely, for example, like Sword of Azrael number 1. Quite honestly, I should have had that set to 9.8. As it was, I just had everything pressed and everything encapsulated no matter the grade. Now, the Sword of Azrael number 1 I sent in looked to be in fantastic condition. And if it comes back at 9.8, it's still like a $150 to $200 book. But if it's a 9.2, 9.4, it's not even worth the price of submission. I also sent in one that I don't care if it's a 9.2 or 9.4, Ghost in the Shell number 1. Again, if it's a 9.8 book, it's well worth it. It's $350. This won't be a 9.8. I've read it, but this is a sentimental book to me. I remember buying it from a comic shop here in the city, Kamikaze, back when it first came out, from a friend of mine, so that's why I just wanted to get it for my own personal collection. I'll pay the money to get it slabbed. And so next, Batman 436, first appearance Tim Drake. This is one of the ones I bought from a previous video, the 5 copies for $25. So it's literally a $5 book, unread. This is the best of the lot, so if by the time it gets pressed and slabbed, if it can come back at 9.8, well worth it, you know, $500 book currently, so no issues there. But even if it doesn't, if it's like a 9.6, it's still pretty decent, well worth the price. But again, I could have used the grade screening on this and said like a 9.6 or better, and if it's not, then they don't charge me for the encapsulation. Omega Man number 3, first appearance of Lobo. This one looked to be in good shape. Again, 9.8, 450, 500. If lower grade, still a valuable book. It's worthwhile, so I can't foresee this one getting less than a 9.4. But again, I'm not, you know, pro grader, and I didn't get out my white gloves and go through them page by page. So I wanted to do, speaking of Lobo, I wanted to do the Lobo number 1. That was, as you saw on the channel, I bought one for $10 and a little bit extra online from eBay. It was in really good shape, but that one wasn't it. This was the one I'd actually bought previously because it's a newsstand. It's basically pretty close to the same condition, but newsstand. So if I can get a newsstand 9.6, it's basically the same as a direct market 9.8 for price. So, or, you know, well, whatever people are willing to spend for it. Next up, Teen Titans 44, first Nightwing, valuable book. I had the feeling this will not get a 9.8, so I'm pretty much guaranteed it won't. But you know, even a 9.2, it basically covers the cost of encapsulation and what I paid for it. This is one of the few books I've paid $100 for, so I just got it last year. But again, Nightwing's always been a favorite character of mine, Dick Grayson. So Astra City #1 should have used the screening on this one. As a 9.8, yes, it's worth it. From the image, again, $200 plus book at a 9.8. If it's not a 9.8, then yeah, it just drops like a stone. We'll see if news about the series comes out from Fremantle, whether they are going ahead with that series or whatnot. But again, if it's not 9.8, I don't think it's really worth the cost of admission here. Next, we'll get into my top 3 big submissions. XMen 244, first appearance Jubilee. Currently in 9.8, it's around a $700 book. Yeah, it's crazy. But even out of like a 9.6, 9.4, more than worthwhile. This is the one I'm hoping will basically pay for the submission. I'll get into the price shortly afterwards, what I paid, but it averaged out to about, with shipping there and shipping back, grading, encapsulation, and press, about $50 per book Canadian. So if I can get a 9.8 out of this, yeah, it'll cover off the cost for all the other books for sure. Next, Saga of the Swamp Thing 37 newsstand. If this comes back 9.8, it's going to be ridiculously valuable. I mean, already without newsstands, a 9.8 is about $2,500. First John Constantine. So it's pretty crazy that way. This would be one of the ones that I would really like to keep, as I love John Constantine's character. But again, it's just nice as a piece, legacy piece as well. And once it's graded, much easier to sell for full market value. Finally, the big gun. X-Men 266 newsstand. First Gambit. This, my brother actually bought this for me for a birthday present in 1990. It was on at a local comic shop in Moncton, New Brunswick. Funny that you would have a newsstand, but I guess the thing is, if you've ordered a bunch of copies and they've sold out like that, and it's a hot comic, like why wouldn't you go to the local retail store and grab what they have as newsstands and just bag and board them, put them up on your wall and sell them for like 8 times cover, right? So really hoping this gets the 9.8. I can tell you right now, there was one that sold in Texas on May 22nd, CGC 9.8 newsstand, X-Men 266 First Gambit white pages. It was Canadian. It was about $5,600. And it actually sold for that ridiculous amount of money. That would basically fund a lot of submissions for my old Silver Age titles that I would really like to get graded and slabbed and pressed, but we'll see how it goes. Even a 9.6 or 9.4 is more than worthwhile for that book. It's a very valuable book. So, like I said, we'll see what we do, how I do, and how it goes from there. My next video I'll talk about, I did order one of my Grails. I'll get into that next video. It's only a very fine near mint, like about a 9.0. It's not slabbed, but it's one I've always wanted, and will probably go in one of those frames up there. So that'll be kind of cool. And what else was I going to do? Oh, yes. I'll go into, once it arrived, I did make a purchase as well, so we'll go into that but the funny thing is, so two mistakes, you know, sending off to CBCS is not getting pre-screened so you don't have to pay, like for example, in the Astra City one, really should have pre-screened that for 9.8. Second mistake, you always have like sender's remorse in that, oh, I should have sent. For example, like I have Hell Arisen number 3. I think even though I know it's not a 9.8, it still would have been worthwhile to have that one encapsulated. But, you know, we'll see how this batch goes. Basically, there's only 3 of them I'd really want to keep, and that's Ghost in the Shell, which won't be a 9.8 and won't be really worthwhile selling anyway. Of course, the Teen Titans 44, and again, won't be a 9.8. And that Seg of the Swamp Thing 37. I'd really like to keep that. The rest, you know, I have more Omega Men number 3. I have a whole bunch more Lobo, a whole bunch more Batman 436. And the X-Men was kind of a thing that was in my late teens and early 20s. So there you have it. We'll see how we do. It'll be months. It'll be a couple months, I'm sure, before I get these back. But I just wanted to make the video. And thanks again for watching. And I'll update you on some purchases probably next week. Okay. I need a catchphrase, don't I? Anyway, see you next time. Bye-bye.